It's a little bit of electric to me because I'm never the one like arguing, fighting. So it's just kind of like front seat to a little bit of chaos where you're just like sick. Yeah.
You need to calm down.
This is what you wanted, right?
The character felt close to me, so I think on that side, it was like the curiosity was my entry point into this character, so I didn't pull from really much outside of that. But with the cooking side, I think I took a lot from our culinary producer, Courtney Storer, who just like working with her, hearing the way she thinks, because she's very creative. I can see parts of Marcus in her, and then also Malcolm Livingston, who I met a couple seasons ago, but worked with in some culinary training for season 3 with. He's like a black pastry chef. Has worked at like a lot of Michelin level restaurants and things where I see a lot like Marcus, and where Marcus wants to go is where he's at. I've learned a lot. I cook naturally. I mean, I would make a couple basic things for myself just so I'm not starving, but I was never like, before the show, I was never like that into cooking food. I loved going to eat it, but now I have like much more of an appreciation for it. I read the pilot script, like from the go, you can feel the pacing of it and the tempo. The script moved really fast, and it felt unlike anything that I had read, and I was like, this is cool. And so I just kind of want to be a part of it. And I saw the character and I was like, this character feels like me, and that usually means there's like a million other people that it probably feels like. So I was like, I'll audition for it and we'll see if I get it. His care and passion and pursuit of his dreams is something that people can connect to, where you're like, he's just pursuing creativity, he's curious about and wants to learn and keep getting further into what he cares about. And I think a lot of people can like identify that in themselves, and you just want to see him succeed at it. And I also think that he's the relief in the tension. This show is all tension, and every time he comes on, it's just like a calm, him just like making some things unbothered over in a corner. Chris is like a person who's like, he's like an encyclopedia with like filmmaking and stuff, and he's always looking at like cool sequences and all these things. And I think there's like a lot of like different filmmakers that I'll see that I'll be like, oh yeah, and you talk to him, it's just like Michael Mann's and just like Scorsese, like all those like kinds of people who are just really great technical directors. I think it's like a lot of DNA's baked into this show. I remember shooting the pilot and seeing the end product and being like, this was cooler than I thought. I already thought it was cool, and it was cooler than I thought. And that was the right decision to make. This is what's up now.
Dibs! They're going too slow.
In the first 2 seasons, he's much more like open and like, he's a lot of people's like safety and security, and I think he's kind of gone a little bit more inside, where he's to not be the burden on other people. He's like withheld and just kind of kept it, and just kept like things close to the chest just to move things along. Also because the kitchen is so demanding this season, I think there's not really much space for him to like think or like let that out. I think that's a big thing that's like changed the season. And also it's just his turn to like experience grief like everyone else in this show has. So I think you're just watching a little bit more of that, like less smiling, more just him going through his process of grief. But he's always kind of like the quiet in the chaos. So it's like, it's still that, it's just on this, it's a different side where rather it being warm, it's a little more cold, where he's coming very precise, very direct, and just kind of like, he's just like, yeah, like, this is what you want to do, Carmy? All right, cool, let's do it. It's a little bit of electric to me because I'm never the one like arguing, fighting. So it's just kind of like front seat to a little bit of chaos where you're just like sick, yeah. Like bouncing, it's just like a bouncing ball.
Would you like to be more involved in the chaos? You want to do some yelling?
I think I'm all right where I'm at.
Refire! If it's not perfect, it doesn't go out. No, I hate this.
Richie, no surprise! Yes, surprise!
It's night and day from Loiter Squad, because I was writing and making those sketches with friends, and a lot of it was free-flowing, not really scripted. It was, we write scripts and just ignore it. But this show is like a lot of like really good and professional actors, and everyone's like operates at a high level. So it's just kind of like, yeah, it's much more preparation, much more I think the heartfelt moments and like these dramatic scenes are, you like question if you can do it. But Chris, who believes in the show and believes in everyone who's involved in it, is always kind of pushing us and writing these scenes where you're like, I wouldn't push myself off that cliff alone, like by myself, but his support and him just being like, no, this is where I think Marcus can go, and I believe that you can do it, is always reassuring. So I'm like, yeah, all right, let's go for it. Favorite moment is, there's a couple with Marcus, but I have ones that I love that's not Marcus. I love Tina's episode that Io directs. There's a moment where she's in bed and she tells her husband that she's like lost her job, and you'll see in that episode. I think that, like, just the delivery of that line and just that whole moment, you're just like, yeah, like, this is an incredible actor I'm watching in real time. In the last episode between Jeremy and Joel McHale, who plays like the asshole chef, that was like amazing. I love whenever Carmy and Marcus have scenes together, just because it's just like I love like their form of their camaraderie and how they connect, because every connection on the show is so unique, and I just love the way that it's like moving from mentor-mentee to kind of like connecting as friends in a cool way.
If you got stuck in a walk-in freezer, which other cast member would you most like to be stuck with?
I think Eben, just because I would just kind of like to watch how him in that room would just be funny. Eben's like, he's like the opposite of his character in a lot of ways, but I feel like being stuck in there would probably push him towards Richie. Like, you'll see more of that side, and it would just be kind of entertaining.